Welcome again to another segment of BrooklynBaritone.com. The voice that you're hearing right now is none other than Corey Ashley, the voice and the talent behind BrooklynBaritone.com. Well, thank you once again for joining me with another one of my segments that I have in my mind that I wish to share with everyone out there. You are either listening to this straight from the BrooklynBaritone.com site, or you are listening to this on my Vimeo page or my YouTube page. Thank you again for joining me. Today, what I'm going to free flow with out of my mind is rules. Rules are those things that are pretty much what establish our standards of how we should live, of how we should move in this life. Without rules, we can't have anything progressive with whatever it is that we want to do. If we want to make a business, if we want to make a household, if we want to make a shirt, if we want to make some soup, there are rules that we have to abide by. We have to establish them and have some very well thought out, planned rules, and then stick by them, to have the integrity to stick by them. We have a lot of our rules compromised, or we have a good amount of rules that we see twisted. We have a lot of things called loopholes, where people find different ways around it to do what they wish. And that's the basis of why I'm talking about rules, because people do have a tendency to do what they want. Again, this is proven hands down in history. This is also proven in my life, even though people can definitely have the excuse and say, well, my life is different from yours. But there are very much similarities with what people go through. Some people may go through harder things than others. Some people may not be able to handle some things that others can. But the rules I'm talking about, they come from the book. They come from the Bible. I was never a follower of these rules my whole life. I can admit to that. And therefore, I can also admit to the different experiences that I've had with myself not adhering to those specific types of rules, and other people not adhering to it. We have a whole world to experience right now of people not adhering to those rules. There's rules to everything. Even the simplest things, there are rules. And we usually don't deviate from them. But usually when we feel we can do better, or we want to do what we want to do, we want to find loopholes, or we want to find excuses to not follow those rules. This also goes into certain lifestyles and certain habits that we all do, that we're all guilty of. It's just that we're so used to it. Now, I'm going to use an analogy of, say, a car. There are rules to that thing, all right? I enjoy the fact that I have the privilege that I can, even buy a car. I'm very thankful and grateful for that. And that I can even drive a car pretty much whenever I want. I'm enjoying that very much myself. There's a time in my life when I couldn't even afford a car, and there are people right now who can't. But let me not get too sidetracked. I know that there are rules involved in the mechanics behind it, where I could take a key, put it in the ignition. I'm not a baller like that. I don't have a push button start yet. When I turn the key, the engine starts. What happens? Combustion starts, and there has to be rules engaged to make that combustion start within that engine. And now once the combustion starts, the engine's going, we have to have another set of rules to engage into the accelerator pad. So when I press it, depending on how far I press it down, it depicts how fast the cars go. And then we also have another set of rules where that power from the combustible engine, when I push down on the gas, that has to translate to the tires. And another set of rules where we have the steering wheel of how it turns. Okay? Because we get used to certain things, we kind of don't think of everything that goes behind the thinking of it. Now, with that said, all automobiles come with a manual, some sort of manuscript to tell us how it's supposed to go. So the manufacturer, someone's created this thing. Someone had it in their mind to actually fine-tune it, create it, and now share it with us. So now here we are with this car, not a very, very grand invention. It needs rules, though. Some of the rules are Use your seatbelt. That's for your safety. Some of the rules to keep this car going is you got to change your oil at every, say, 5,000 miles. You know, a lot of people are guilty of not changing the oil at 5,000 miles. And not only have to change the oil at a certain distance or time, you have to use a certain type of oil as well. Here's one thing where people kind of deviate and do what they want to do. Now, let's just say I drive at 5,001 mile, or even 6,000 miles, even 7,000 miles without changing the oil. It's not saying the car's going to break down right away as soon as you deviate by 1 decimal or sliver from the rules that are there. It's just that in the long run, you continue doing that, you're going to wear down the car, you're going to wear down the engine, you're going to become complacent. All right? When that car breaks down, it's going to end up costing us more than we really want to. It's just that a lot of people, most of us, are used to things costing us in our lives when we could have avoided it. But we get used to it. We become compliant. We become very complacent. There's a normalcy bias going on with us where we know that we probably should be doing something more standardized to help streamline our lives, but we kind of slack. We do what we want to do. And just like with the car, say if we don't change the tires when the treads go down too much, or the oil needs to be changed, it breaks down. When we could have been following those guidelines, it could have avoided getting a new engine because the oil is burnt out. The engine is burnt out because the oil can't cool and lubricate the engine. Now we have to spend money replacing certain parts when all we had to do is probably go to one of those oil change places, spend $20, $30, $40 when we're supposed to, and save us hundreds of dollars, possibly thousands of dollars down the road. Just that we're so used to compromising, and then we have things in our own lives where we pay for, but it's just that we're so used to it, we know it's messed up. We're just so used to it when we get to a certain point because we keep going and going and going without checking the manual and applying that and say, hey, I need to chill. Let me change my oil. Let me back up. Because there's so much things, everything is affected by how we move, because we're not just affecting ourselves, we're affecting things around us as well. We get real used to doing things that are considered bad, but a lot of bad things that were supposed to be bad, they are considered the norm now. And it's easily to be considered the norm because people found different ways to sneak in compromises in our lives, in our laws, in our rules. These rules that I do like to adhere to, I understand it even more so because I know how it is to not follow these rules that are in the book. Yes, I'm talking about the commandments, but I'm also talking about every other thing. That's an example of a man needing to be the head of his household because of how he's made naturally. It's real easy to get things thrown out of order when a man isn't doing what he's supposed to do, whether because he's choosing to not do it or he's not allowed to do it. Now, that doesn't mean that things are just going to break down automatically, immediately, but the long-term effects can be irreversible and more damaging than we think. Would you say the same thing for someone who curses all the time? We're not supposed to curse. Just look at the word curse. It's a curse. We forgot how heavy that word is and what it means. We're not supposed to curse. But we're used to it, though. We're around people who curse all the time. Curses fly out their mouths all the time. I used to curse a lot. Heavy, as I covered in one of my other segments. That is a rule because it should be a rule, a guideline that we follow because it's not going to break us down automatically. But in the long run, it breaks us down automatically. Be wary of how we think and how we talk and present ourselves to be a little bit more respectful and respectable by others. That is a harsh thing. That's why those words are still harsh. Even though we hear it all the time, people say it all the time, we may see it all the time and hear it, music and media and everything. It's just that because everyone's so used to it, we don't think of the long-term effects of how it breaks us down. There are a lot of standards that we need to follow, and these rules are actually there for us to perform at peak performance. The more we adhere to certain rules, the better we are off individually. The better we are off individually when we have those guidelines set in place, those rules, that's going to translate into society. We have people who are guided better and have the strength and the integrity to go through with these rules and understanding, not just following it blindly, but to understand why we should follow these things, because we don't want radicals as well. I want to make sure I separate myself from that, what people call radicals or extremists, because people would tend to just stick to the rules and only but the rules, and they kind of lose their way as well. I'm going to use the example of Jesus coming down. I'm speaking about this because this is what really happened. People got a little too sidetracked with following the rules. They kind of forgot, listen, that's just for a guideline for how you should move and what you should do and should not do. But you have to do it out of love. You need to have love in your heart as well. So you have to have empathy and sympathy for others around you. Because without rules, again, it's easy for us to not love other people. That's also something that we should be doing. That is a rule that we should be doing that the Father laid down for us. It's real easy to get caught up and just be black and white, and it's cold. Cold as a marble floor in the winter. But we're not supposed to be about that. It's only because we feel we have to go to the extreme. Why do we have to go to the extreme with certain rules? Because people have not followed the rules, so they feel they need to tighten the screws. And when you tighten something down too much or for too long, you're gonna kind of mess it up. You're gonna break it. You're gonna break it. When it gets broken, it's gonna be even that much harder to get back on track, to get it back to how it should be. Okay? It's just like, say if you build a building, okay, we got the rules in effect. We have 4 walls, a ceiling, and a floor. We have some windows here. We good. The structural integrity is beautiful. See, if we do what we want to do, certain things are not going to operate or function the way it's supposed to. Floors could be slanted. The doors could be there, but they don't open up. You know, there's certain rules that got to be followed. But we don't have to add in extra things because we feel, you know what? Well, I think we got to put in more floors. You put in more floors with the same height of the building is going to be a more squinched up space inside there. We don't need to add extra things to be a little bit more strict. You need to be strong. Yes. You need to stay on your guidelines. Yes, we do. But again, when I talk about following these rules, I don't want anyone to just lose the fact that we're supposed to have love in our heart and care for our heart. But at the same time, we can't be too carefree. Right? We still have to move a certain way and walk a certain way, talk a certain way, think a certain way. And we practice these things. I could definitely tell you from my own experiences, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm pointing you, I hopefully am pointing you in the right direction with how we should move and why we should move that way. Okay, if I believe in these rules, I believe in the Father, because I know for a fact we are not here from chaos. When I look at my body, I look at everyone's body, we are made symmetrical. Okay, symmetry does not come from chaos. Okay, our certain organs, and so much different organs that we have, it has a specific purpose. Our relationship to the trees and plants around us, you know, synchronous. So much things, they have a give and take relationship. But see, that goes also with our effects to other people. See, if we believe in disorder, we came from chaos, then all that does is leave room. If you believe in survival of the fittest, no matter how much you want to probably sugarcoat it, you believe in racism, you believe in slavery, you believe in genocide. Because these are the many things that lead down to it. If survival of the fittest, then if you're strong, then you're going to survive. If you're weak, then you're going to get weeded out. This is what happens when you don't have rules. You can justify anything. You can justify anything. Anything goes when it comes down to it. All right? Just because you may not want to accept that part of those kind of rules which come out of chaos, it's what it is. It's still the same flavor of ice cream. No matter if you put fudge covering on it and sprinkles and a cherry on top, it's still the same thing underneath when you get down to it. The rules I follow has no place for that. It has no room for it. Now, all these things in history that happened in the name of God, so-called, that didn't happen in the name of God. Because if you yourself took the book and actually read, not just pick and choose what you want to read, but actually go through the book, you would see that God is about love. You would see that there are a lot of things that may be permitted, but it does nothing to progress us. Should we keep following those paths? So all those people, the Ku Klux Klan, the Jesuits, the Crusades, so many things supposedly that was done in the Roman Catholic days as well, that was done supposedly in the name of God, was not. Because if you studied and knew exactly what Christ was about, what the Father was about, you know for a fact that these people were misrepresenting them, and they had their own agendas. So that cannot be used as an excuse. Once you know the origins of something, of anything, the truth will be revealed to you. As I said in my segment in the past, the truth. You can look that up too on my Brooklyn Baritone site as well. So we want our car to go down the road as smooth as possible. We want to change the oil when we need to with the right type of oil. We want to perform the best way we possibly can, even though the road could be rugged and other drivers are swerving all about the place and they have smoke spewing out of their cars and they're cool because they're used to it. You stay the course, because that's the way that you can improve yourself. You figure out what the rules are. You can't just make it up as you go along, because you are going to be one of those drivers swerving all over the place because your linkage is broken up and you're deciding to not fix it. You got smoke spewing, you're stalled on the side of the road. You got your linkage all busted up. You have everything wrong in your car, but you're just trying to say, I'm good, when you're not good. When you're not good. I want to be one of those people on the road where it's the summertime, when it's blazing hot, I'm driving, my engine's not making any kind of noise. My wheels ain't swerving all over the place. My windows are up because my AC works properly. Why? Because I'm trying to keep to the rules necessary to keep my cars driving. See, just because you follow the rules don't mean you're not going to enjoy life. That's exactly what it is. Think about it. Because I used to have cars in the past where my AC wasn't working. I was like, I just get used to it. And in the summertime, I'm looking at everybody else driving with their windows up. They smiling. I'm seeing the breeze flowing in their face. It's blowing like the little tassels they have, or the freshener hanging from the mirror. It's just blowing away in the wind. I'm like, oh, man. I have to have my window down with nothing but hot air. Okay. You know, and I got like a muffler problem, so you hear my car all loud. But see, it may not be easy, especially in today's world. But once you put it in practice, you're gonna know what your goal is. You're gonna know what the standards are. Once you follow those rules, then you could be smiling with a car that's driving straight, AC blowing when you need it. All right, it turns on when you need it. You don't have to do any extra tricks to it. It works the way it's supposed to, and you can enjoy your life Just because I say the Bible, people automatically think that it's, Bible thumper, you a Jesus freak, oh, you don't know how to have fun. I know how to have fun. See, I have a difference now of what real fun is. I'm still going through my changes. I still have a lot of things I still got to put away and step up on. But I'm thankfully a far cry from a lot of things that I used to be talking about. And I do want that for everybody. I do want that for everybody. It's not going to be overnight. Don't get sold into that myth that you're just going to have some magical dust come down over you and you're going to be changed. And it takes time because, once again, we're all broken. So it's going to take time to change certain things about us. We have to remove certain things from our lives, and we're going to have to add some things in our lives. But once you keep doing it more and more and you stay the course, it may not be easy. Some people it may be easy. As soon as something just snaps inside of them, they're like, hey, I get it now. But it's going to take work. Know what the rules are. The more you adhere to them, try your best to have discernment so it can make sense to you. Then it'll be easier and easier and easier. This goes with everything in life, everything. I'm not targeting one type of wrong thing that we do or one type of peoples, because we all have things that are wrong with us. It's the fact that we've accepted it. That's the problem. But I'm going to wrap it up right now. This is Corey Ashley from BrooklynBaritone.com. Check me out on my YouTube site. Check me out on my Vimeo site. Just check me out regardless. Hopefully I can make positive changes in your life. Hopefully I could spark up something worthy of intellect in you. And hopefully spark proper change in you. The way I'm going through my change. And I do feel good about it. This is not my will, it's the Father's will. I'll see you next time. Thank you again.